common misunderstanding that I often hear is people will misuse the phrase love the world more than God. And they use this to infer that you can't enjoy or participate in a lot of the pleasures of the world. And that's not true. God made blessings for us to enjoy as humans, and we have a very hard job here on earth. It's a very difficult existence compared to other creatures in other worlds. So, God has blessed us and given us things that we can enjoy in moderation. So, when it says love the world more than God, that doesn't mean not to like good food or vacations or love. It doesn't mean that at all. It means to love the world more than you love God. So in the world, it's also talking about the sin that comes along with that. So usually when you see the world, it's referring to the ways of the world which have been influenced by the devil. So perversions. But either way, if you enjoy eating more than you enjoy or love God, your true creator, then that's unfortunate, and that might be relevant here. So if you love the world more, doesn't mean that you don't love the world. You're allowed to love the world. You just have to love God more. You're allowed to love food. You're allowed to love a good movie. You're allowed to love music. You're allowed to love, but God wants you to love Him more. And the way you show your love is by being obedient. So if the devil says, do what thou wilt, you can do whatever you want. And it doesn't really matter if you follow all these rules or not. No. The way you show your love to God is by being obedient to Him. So He's made some very easy, simple rules for us to have a peaceful existence here on earth. And they're called the 10 Commandments. We don't lie, cheat, steal, commit adultery, murder. We don't worship other gods. And maybe that's the only one that maybe we don't see how it directly impacts us. But it perhaps impacts us the most because it emboldens and empowers them to make more rules and to influence us even more and tell us that sin is fine, it's no big deal, and they do love child sacrifice, I will say. But perhaps one reason that God hates idol worship so much is because all of those fake gods seek to hurt us. So, they hurt us, and to worship them is to sacrifice our children at their feet. And they drink our blood. So, maybe that's one reason that God hates them so much. Maybe that's one reason God does not like us worshiping them. So, when it says, love the world more than God, it just simply means what it says. So, you show your love for God by listening to God and following God's commandments. And it doesn't really matter how much you say you love God. You can say you love God all you want, but if you don't follow God's laws, then it shows that you don't love God. If there's something you want, it's a temporal pleasure, it's a perversion, it's quick and easy, and you choose to do this even though you know God does not like it, God does not approve, then now you are loving the world more than you love God, and that's what this means. It doesn't mean not to listen to music, not to watch a movie, not to go on a date. It doesn't mean not to have a good meal. But we do this within the parameters that God has set forth for us. And all the parameters are to help us, to give us cohesive, easy life here, an easy existence on earth where we're not harming others and they're not harming us. Unfortunately, there are many people that love the earth. They love the world more than they love God. And that's why we have so many problems. But in response to this, we shouldn't deny ourselves the blessings that God has made for us, and that's not what it means. And if people continue to push that false premise and lie, it's going to drive more people away from faith. They're going to rebel and be driven right into the hands of the enemy, which they were already disbelievers, but it's just going to propagate more trouble, it's going to make things worse, and it's going to be even harder for us believers. So it's really important that when you hear something like that, that you research it, you look up the definitions and meanings of these words, because there are a lot of there are a lot of implications of spreading something like this that possibly is untrue. And telling people to deny themselves basic pleasures and things of the earth, which don't harm anyone, by telling them this lie, then they might reject God, thinking that you are telling them God's law. That's not what God is saying at all. So you've just made a lie and attributed it to God, and that is a huge sin, and that's worse than even committing these sins. Thanks for watching, guys. God bless you.